is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what? You are not going to believe this. Microsoft has been fast at work doing lots of updates. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of updates. It is absolutely insane what is happening right now in the world of Flight Simulator 2024. They have just completed the push of the 2020 assets of everybody that used to have that version of the simulator into the 2021 version, making them all usable at this moment. Drum roll, please. So how do you think this is going? What's your guess? Do you think they got it right, or do you think they wound up hitting their face on the floor? Bang! I think what's happening is very, very interesting, telling, and we are about to get into it. Here is the Airbus ACH H145 in a luxury variant. Notice, however, the only variants available for the H145 are military livery number 2, livery 4, and civilian livery. None of these are search and rescue helicopters. So even though we've been told that, hey, we're going to wind up having all of these available inside of the next sim, what we come to find out is that might not actually be the case. I think what they're doing is falling a little bit short on their deadline at this point. They haven't been able to reconfigure the aircraft in any other variant outside of the 3 we see here because of the mechanics and the graphics associated with lifting patients in and out of this helicopter. All of the other assets that we've seen are specifically related to the H225 variant that they shipped with the simulator. I feel like I have just been ripped off by Hype Performance Group at the meat and potatoes of it. When you think about it, I paid for a product that came with a search and rescue livery. That's it. This is an H145. It's a search and rescue helicopter. Civilian livery 1, 2, 3, and 4. But the one that I've been flying for, a couple thousand hours isn't even available. Tisk, tisk, tisk. So many deadlines have been missed with the launch of 2024. It's a little bit astonishing. However, I also have my H160 variant in a civilian configuration, which is also a really stable helicopter. And I'm thinking once I get around to the money earning portion of this, after that's right around the corner. I should be getting my commercial helicopter pilot's license here really soon. But this is a wonderful little teaser of what we've got here. Now, I did have these in 2020 as payware through the Hype Performance Group's Action Pack, and both these aircrafts were purchased individually. I am not sponsored by Hype Performance Group in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, you can tell that I am giving you my opinions with this quite bluntly and just as is. But all of my 2020 aircraft have come over now, and they are available, ready to fly in a moment's notice. The 222B. If we come into this and configure this, this can also be used in a real-world environment as a search and rescue helicopter, or at least patient transfer. But the variant is, we do have a healthcare livery, but I think it's just paint, which helps. But there's not going to be any graphics associated with it if you use this in a mission until they incorporate the mechanics of interacting people with the aircraft and environment in this specific model. However, really giant leap forward in what we have to look forward to. Lots of variants. See, and this one came through in its entirety. All of the additional liveries that came with the aircraft have shipped because there weren't any types of second or third party plugins associated with this specific aircraft. But the high performance group H-145 with the HEMS mission capability isn't ready at this moment. I haven't heard anything from Hype Performance Group just yet, but I have a feeling that it is a pretty good assumption, wild, educated guess to say that that is the case. Pretty exciting overall, because that gives us more options of things that we could use to ferry people around and do these other missions while we earn credits towards that license we just can't wait to get a hold of. Which, once again, I'm going to go ahead and agree with. We can't wait to get there. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to go into our menu system. We're going to switch over from the free flight mode just so we can check out, our library. I'm going to go into the career mode once again, and we're going to get this bad boy started with a little tune that I like to call Airport Lounge. This is pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to turn the nice desk. I've switched positions. If you've noticed, I'm no longer at the couch. Let's get these volume levels set up. What do you think? The reputation update did take effect. 5 bonus percentage points for each mission. Next. So let's get the Microsoft turned. You know what? I need to listen to this because I think what we're about to get into is something that we need to kind of listen to. So we're going to go into the certifications. Because right now, if you look in that upper right-hand corner, SAR Heli 241 has 4,900 credits. I can't even read anymore. But here we are. I have all of the training complete down the left-hand line in this list. I am way more than ready, according to our flight examiner. We have the cash. We have 3,500 credits, finally. Plus a little bit of leftover in the bank afterwards. Not a whole lot, but we're going to be able to recover that once we do this. Of course, they're going to wind up doing this in the good old Cabri G2. Not exactly my favorite aircraft because the control systems are reversed, but 6 1/2 dozen from the other. Let's see what happens. There is our briefing. We're in the clouds. We have a takeoff departure flying the river route, probably just a simple VFR flight, long final entry and landing. Here we go. We're going to throw a little bit of Microsoft volume in the background here so we can listen to what our instructions are. Follow the rules, right? Let's follow the rules. And of course, here we go again. With the walk around that you do not want to skip. This is a step that you should be doing manually simply because it does affect the amount of points you accumulate every time you go into the air. I believe you actually have to get under the engine cover of this one. Look at the detail. I'm sure if my graphics settings were pushed up a little higher, this would be even better. But could I complain? It doesn't look like it's actually going to do anything other than show you that there is a level on it. If I back out even a little bit and go back, wow, wow, okay, okay. Easy on the controls there, Spider-Man. So do we have to click the inner rings and check that? Like I'm holding it. Let's see if we crouch down and look. Go back to those little rings. Nope. Can I get a little closer any other way? Nope. Okay. Can't say we didn't try. Once again, this stuff is just really clunky, and the speed of this camera and the glitchiness in between, that's really bothering me right now. But I have a feeling that that is my frame rate, which keeps appearing as unavailable. One more engine cowling to look into. Once again, this is something that I can point at. I can look all the way around, no problem. But if I try to inspect it, I'm not getting any response. But it does say press equal to enter the aircraft, so let's do so. And moving on. It's asking me to start this procedure again. I think at this point what I want to do is more of a manual startup in these aircraft, since this is the path my career will be taking. I think it's a pretty good idea. We're going to turn on some strobe lights. Backup power. We're going to wind up getting this into a flight ready condition. We're going to, let's see here. Can we open the door with the handle here and just, instead of, clear props. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and just throw myself outside again. Are you kidding me? Clear prop, I suppose, should have been said from inside, since we are in a virtual world that doesn't really matter. All right, I think since I went ahead and touched some of those controls, I should get this started up pretty easily. We're going to add a little bit of power into this to make sure that we're going to be good. There isn't, see, there's no switch, right? There's not an active switch here. Governor start on is literally just painted onto the collective. That is not actually a switch. Okay, well played. In the base sim Cabri G2, we're not even going to model a switch, we're just going to put a sticker on it. I got a helicopter with a sticker on it. Yeah, okay. We'll put a little non-point music behind that in the replay of this. What do you think? Instead of I got a bullet with a name on it, it's, never. Okay, too far.
This is the rotorcraft that you will be flying today. As your pilot examiner, I am tasked with making sure that you perform a safe flight today. You will be taking off from Bern-Belp Airport and performing a small cross-country flight towards Thun Airfield. Follow basic safety rules. Apply the concepts that you learned throughout your lessons, and I'm sure that you will be doing fine.
Press enter to request the taxi. Now again, ladies and gentlemen, I've said this before, these mission step callouts in the upper right-hand corner are an absolute necessity for getting these missions done, making sure you're not missing anything.
Tango 9er, Charlie Quebec Kilo Taxi 2, and hold short of runway 14 via taxiway Kilo Alpha. Contact tower on 121.025 when ready.
Announce.
Taxiing hold short runway 14 via taxiway Kilo Alpha Charlie Quebec.
What's up with the glitching little call out there? Dancing hold short. That's really, really distracting. Does helicopter have the same settings that we are expecting it to have? I highly doubt it, but we'll see what happens. Are we at the point right now where we are remembering? Ooh, previous control setups. It looks pretty good so far. The H-22 seems to have a really, I just put one flight model together. I think the general control, see, it's still slipping just a little bit. Not much, but it is. Still slipping. Keeps on slipping into the past. Okay, the musical references. I don't understand where they're coming from, but they do just keep coming. I think we've got that pretty much ready. We're going to resume what we got. Good clearance. Oh, wow. Look at the detail of our airport right here. Got that wing a little close to the building, I think, but hey, what's with the pole dancing little bird cage right here? What's going on with that? Okay, got a bird cage at an airport next to the helipad taxi. That's pretty interesting. Okay, either way, stop wasting time. Let's do this. The shift should be resetting this view. For some reason, I think it puts you up really high in the cockpit, and I'm not liking it. These call-outs are also going to interfere with our airspeed, so I'm going to try to find a spot where I can get the airspeeds that I'm going to be flying at visible underneath those call-outs before I do anything. And we are going to give it a little bit of collective, a little bit of back yoke. Back stick, yoke, yoki dokie. Again, they want a 2 to 8 foot hover. I did not contact ATC, and those settings are also not set up again. I should probably check this entire list every single time I do that at this point with the simulator, with the frequency at which it is forgetting. So I have that set to the keyboard. It should be a Shift A. Search by Shift A. That is not what I need it to be. We're going to delete that by hovering the cursor over that field, deleting it, clicking into the search box, and just typing in ATC, display ATC, choosing it, doing Shift A again for ATC connection. We're going to go back, save and back, and resume. Now I should have communications with ATC available on screen. Turning tower. Could do ground is where I should be. Taxiing short runway 14 via taxiway Kilo Alpha, Charlie Quebec Kilo. Charlie Quebec Kilo. We're a little high, we're a little fast. I should probably continue to focus on what I am doing as far as making sure that this ride is a good one. This is for the chicken nuggets. Instead of meat and potatoes. I'm kidding. I'm absolutely kidding. I would have... Nah, never mind. Okay, I digress. And I still think I'm a little bit high. Not that I've had anything of those sorts this evening. Where's this humor coming from? Out of whatever. I am floating down the runway, approaching a hold short, finally in the process of getting a commercial helicopter pilot's license. I have paid for this trip as well, so we should be very careful just in case the mission is a failure and I've spent this money for naught. It is exciting to see the progression take place, though, and I am not that far off when it really comes down to it. The H-225 isn't a horrible aircraft to fly in. It is okay. However, it does not have that SVS system that shows us a virtual reality version of the landscape in front of us, which eliminates the ability to do nighttime missions, which I was counting on because that is an extremely challenging part of HEM's missions flight that I like to rehearse, practice, and do in this software. But then we find out that the livery and the variants aren't available.
Burn Tower Tango 9er. Charlie Quebec Kilo at runway 14 ready for departure, departing straight out.
Tango 9er. Charlie Quebec Kilo QNH 101 tree, departing straight out approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 14.
Cleared for takeoff runway 14, Charlie Quebec Kilo.
A little too high off the ground for that one. Don't really have any music on for this, simply because I need to hear the instructions from ATC. Look out that way. I'm going to spin it around a little bit. And look out that way. Enter runway 14 has been successfully achieved. Trying to get too far off the ground just yet because I haven't lined up, and they like lining up with things taking off from the center of the runway. All of these things add up when it comes to grading my flight. So, ladies and gentlemen, translational lift, they like us to stay low, really low for these 10 feet before we get to 45 knots. We have reached 45 knots. I still think I am a little too high for this. I don't know what kind of credit I'm going to get. All I know is I haven't crashed yet, and I am finally taking my check ride. We're going to get this bad boy tucked up and out of the way for now, and we're just going to do what it says, which is climb and maintain 1900. I believe it also should be at a much greater speed than what I am currently at, which is only 40, but let's see what we can do. I'm going to open up my flight bag. I'm sure there's a few steps along the way here that I have missed. But it's kind of like, hey, I'm finally here. So, maintain an altitude of 2,500. We still haven't really had a call out for a assigned speed. And I'm not sure off the top of my head what that assigned speed should be. But I'm pretty sure it should be faster than 40 knots. Alright, there is the 2,500 mark. Little bit over it, but it does still recognize the fact that I'm less than 50 feet between the two. It's given me the green arrow so far. I like it. I like it. I like it. Again, it said follow that river. There's the river. It's not great. I would like to see a flight like this, you know, something that would need to be a little bit closer to the ground, but I get an introductory flight, yada yada, blah blah blah. Man, I can't wait till this is done. I'm so close. It's right around the corner. It's just right around the corner. A little wobble back and forth. We're going to make sure that we're using all of these control surfaces for our flight. Yeah, I'm kidding. I would love to be able to get down there and just do a little river run. That is not the case. We are gaining a little bit of altitude. Wow, we're 300 feet over our designated altitude, and it's still in the green. Let's get back
Charlie
down there a
Quebec
little
Kilo,
bit.
leaving my airspace frequency.
Of course, as soon as
Change
that
approved.
happens, it comes up over the top. I don't have that at the bottom enough. I'm going to acknowledge said transmission.
Bird Tower Tango 9er. Charlie Quebec Kilo frequency change.
But what's it going to do with that frequency change? Anything? We don't want to go too much further down here, guys. Come on, let's go. What are we doing? There we go. Now we can connect to the airport via ATC. But then we're going to announce our position. Maybe.
Lima Sierra Zulu Whiskey Traffic Tango 9er. Charlie Quebec Kilo 6 miles north, 2,600 feet inbound to land runway 14.
Yada yada. Yada yada. Well, now it's finally recognizing my altitude. See, all of a sudden it disconnected. Last time it let me get a little bit higher. The music reference just went through my head, but I didn't say it out loud. I'm sure some of you did. Is our target altitude. Surely we can stay near it. Our only mission step now is to reach along final entry. I have not turned on my EFB at all. Let's pull that. Oh, see if we change that. We hit tab again, she pops out. I don't know if I like it there or not. I do kind of like the additional visibility when it's not in the holder. You can just throw that in your pocket, call it a day. Tuck it between the seats. I don't know, do we got a little pocket on the door? A little map pocket? Nope, nothing there. How's everybody doing on board? What are we doing here? Hi. You've got some bizarre looking eyes, my man. Interesting, interesting, interesting. It's like looking into a galaxy. Thanks for not looking at me. He blinks. What? Hey, no, stop. I can't make eye contact with the guy. I don't know why. I said no. Hem's missions 2024 are right around the corner. We're in a pretty good corner of the world right now. So. Graphics here are they're a lot better. So much better. The tree placement is improved greatly. I have come across one runway actually while doing the training that had trees encroaching on the airborne. It's hard to talk about. But we're going for it. I'm just moments away from getting that license. Hopefully, if I don't fail this flight. This is the long entry final. I'm not sure what altitude we're supposed to be at. Let's see if we can get into our EFB right here. Let's see what is going on with our flight plan. We have headings, but nothing else. So we have reached it. We're going to announce final when ready to land via ATC traffic control. ATC traffic control is a little redundant.
Lima Sierra Zulu Whiskey Traffic Tango 9er. Charlie Quebec Kilo is on final runway 14 to land.
On final. In the good old-fashioned Cabri G2, just chilling like a villain. We got over the atmosphere, though. Greatly improved from 2020, even with a little bit of a downgrade to keep my frame rates up there, which is unfortunate right now because if you can see that, my FPS in the upper right-hand corner between those clouds is, I'm sorry, upper left-hand corner. It's showing off as not available. It's pretty good stuff. Thanks for letting me know I need to press Alt-Z to open up my NVIDIA panel. Thank you so much. Also, a little bit awkward on the flight plan here. It has the call out over in the field on the left. There are 0 buildings. Oh, there it is. Okay. Very interesting. Alright. Okay. Land on airfield. It has always been on a runway. But this is say I see a helipad over there. Okay, I see it. I'm coming down the runway though, regardless. I want to try to see if I can get to this 2 to 8 foot taxi hover before I slide over. Good. Love the grass clips coming up in front of us there. I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but there are little chunks of grass. And as you get closer to it, that effect increases until you are on the ground. Land on the airfield. We're going to do this very gently. I am not down yet. Not down yet. There we go. I've got both skids firmly on the ground. I think that was a pretty good flight for a go around. Let's just go ahead and take this guy. Turn it off. Take this guy. Kill it.
Congratulations on obtaining your rotorcraft commercial pilot license. That was some smooth flying.
Whoop, whoop. Smooth. Smooth like butter. Hold the brakes to apply the rotor brakes. Alright, I can't wait to get you out of this helicopter, bro. We both looked away at the same time. I know, you feel the same way I do? I bet you do. see what happens outside here as this thing spools down. Look at the graphics of this rotor wash. I love the clippings of the grass coming up. However, at one point, you would think that those would stop because they've all been blown away, but it is a continuous just stream of popcorn coming out from the bottom of the helicopter. Oh, it's even getting worse as we spool down. Okay, that's an interesting... Wow, that popcorn maker's shaking. Show me what you're working with. That's a little messed up, actually. All right, so we're spooling down the rotors, and the amount of debris is actually getting worse, even though we've been here for a significant amount of time. Again, not a big deal, but something to consider. You know, maybe the developers later on can actually put a slider on it. So as your rotor wash decreases and that wake turbulence decreases, so will the debris under the helicopter. Very, very interesting. All right, let's get back into this bad boy. I think our RPMs should be low enough at this point. Where are we at? 166. I don't know. We'll call it good. If that wants me to do it, I want to do it. CPL helicopter acquired. 88% on the pattern, 83 on the path, 93 on the taxi path. Probably for a little bit of an overspeed or something like that. I didn't look one way or the other. I don't know. Who knows? A. I got an A on my CPL. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on. Next. In real time. That was the first time through that. I have not pre-recorded this. This is happening as we speak. Very cool. Happy to see it. This allows you to fly a helicopter for compensation or hire and performs lots of fascinating jobs. Well, isn't that fascinating? One new aircraft. I have a library of aircraft. I would consider it more of a hangar of helicopters at this point. And that's my option. Okay, now I think it's break time. Because I have 1,400 credits, ladies and gentlemen. This thing requires 750 credits to move on for a turbine rating. But what this should allow us to do is come back to the HQ. We're going to load up a little bit of a specialization. And we have skydiving already, but what about in rotorcraft? We should now be... we could take somebody up in a rotorcraft, it looks like. Nope. Or is it? Where is the option for skydiving? It isn't available in rotorcraft version. Disappointing again. Why not? Do you know how many people I've seen jump off of the skids of a helicopter before? I mean, you people have sponsorships with Red Bull. Let's see someone skydive off the side of a H225 or H145 or even like a Bell. Just ring the bell with it. Let's bring it. If you went this far to put a full career mode in here, at least consider your sponsorships. Your sponsorships include skydiving with Red Bull. There we go. All right, so I guess right now passenger transport is basically all we got. It is what it is. Here we go. The mission set is new. See, but it actually shows the H125 there. So perhaps I'm just going to have to open up some of these base level missions first before it allows that. Your level allows you access to a new difficulty level for all job types. Well, aren't I special? Hello, hello. The camera icon. We remember before, we've got some people out here that have been talking to us about this specific option right here. We've seen that before. Yes, yes, and yes. Okay, this is exciting here. So much going on. What's going on? Another musical reference. I should get away from doing that. Do I start somewhere close to the base? Why not? Flying familiar faces to the club next to, God bless you, Zivanice. That place. Sure, why not? That's what we're here to do. We can earn some money with our chopper now. The brief is Escalante has planned the surprise for one of her colleagues. She's treating him to She's treating him. Okay. Is this a DEI meeting waiting to happen right here or what? Don't tell anybody I said so, but it's a meeting, okay? Shh, don't tell anybody. Let's get into our EFB. Let's break it down. You know, the only reason I've been doing this, and again, if you haven't seen my videos before, if you're a first-time visitor, this is something that I like to do for these missions every single time. I don't always go through changing procedures and everything, but I'm going to go ahead and file it with the ATC, wait for the color to change, send the route to the avionics, color changes, moving on. Here we go. This is going to be a registration of Hotel 0675. Flight number, I think we're up to something like 025 at this point. Call sign, I am SAR. Heli, 2 for 1. We're on sale today. We're looking at about 9:17 in the evening right now, so let's arrange this for somewhere around the 9:20. Let's go with the 9:30 mark. We're gonna go in the PM. We'll change up our navcom to our E1 step. Close. Our transponder is going to be a squawk and altitude, and we're going to progress from there. Lately, these haven't been working, but I think it should just be one person on this trip, unless they're going together. And then, I don't know what's happened in the night between these two, but it's still not accepting how many passengers are coming onto my aircraft, so that's going to be up to them. That is a completed EFB. We're going to close that down, accept the mission, and moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, we're in career mode, in a helicopter. What is this, day 3? Yeah, I just put a big stretch out there. I know you can't see me, but a little roll of the neck a little bit, like finally. 3 days from launch to helicopter. And this SOB has me in a Cessna Skyhawk 172. I'm sorry. Back to the world map, please. Escape. Escape. Back to HQ. Why are we not doing helicopter missions? Why does it have me in a flippin' Cessna? I didn't just go out there and spend all of this time trying to get a commercial pilot's license for a helicopter. Only to do a mission. In a flippin' Cessna. So let's see if our mission list has any clues about this. Alright, well, I see the airplane icon next to all of them. I don't know if that would change if it was a helicopter mission. But if I'm not mistaken, I have chosen the proper list. I am not sure if I need to go all the way back to like the main menu or something to switch aircrafts. Specializations. I want ferry flights in rotorcraft. All of those are both selected. I see the check marks next to them. Passenger transport is something I am capable of doing. It says I have a green check mark, commercial pilot's license. Calibri is an option. Calibri? Okay, you go with that. Back to headquarters. Missions. It still has the picture of the twin fixed rotor on the menu start. Drops me onto the world somewhere in the middle of nowhere, completely irrelevant. I have to zoom out for 6 days and then see these missions. So, we have aerial construction, camera missions. Gimbal Calibri is the selected aircraft for that mission as stated by the callout. Let's try this one more time. We're going to go with the EFB as planned. Looks good. File it with the ATC. Wait around a second. Wait for the color to change. Boom, bada bing. How many times do we need to do this? Did I verify last time if it had the icon of helicopter, or did I miss that? I think I might have missed it. We'll see either way. All right. Bag is full. I know this isn't going to work. Moving on. Are we going to get there finally? What is going to happen? How long will this take? 3 days honestly isn't that bad though. For a brand new launch, let's be real. It is a little disappointing that I've had to wait 3 days to even get to this point, but at the same time, let's analyze this a little further. What if I was the type of enthusiast that didn't want to spend that much time in the simulator and I just wanted to get straight to it? What if I didn't even want to touch fixed wing? I'm going to be turned off by this product in this instance, right? That's just my external point of view. I'm just giving you an honest review. It's not a good idea to force people into a situation like that. Here we go again. It's going to reset all of our settings. Oh my goodness. Maybe there's a way to do this for all aircraft. And let's try that. So what we have here is in the settings, because we always have to do this, is in the controls. We're going to go back. And it has general for the H225. That's keyboard, fine and dandy. Throttle. H225, I like it. That's just my helicopter profile. We'll go into our cyclic. Controls are there. Okay, so it's at least remembered that much. Like when I'm using a helicopter, those are the settings I prefer. I dig that. But what it's not remembering is this sub-content for each one of those presets. Every single time I have to go in here and kind of change what these things look like, right? Searching by the input. If I use my cyclic search input toggle cockpit view, and we go here, this should be external. Search by input. There we go, external. Okay, so some of those are working. Some of them aren't. In the keyboard, if we do a search by input, a shift A to get to ATC, still active. Okay. I forgot what setting I was going in there to change, to be honest. Oh my goodness, it was the directional. Let's just use the old keyboard here, because the mapping for walking around that I have is what I was looking for. So I'm kind of just going back to the keyboard. Maybe. That cover is off. Remove the rotor cover. Get a little closer. It just says immediately go into the aircraft. Like there's an option to go in and check the oil and all that, but we're just going to get into it. I did some of it. I did most of it. Pitot tubes are exposed. We're good. I'm getting a little drift in that camera again. Let's request some boarding.
Pierre-Luc, I'm ready. Well noted.
Nice little lineup of planes there on the tarmac. Not too shabby. She's walking with a purpose. She's ready to go. In the Cabri. And we're going to turn on the master. We're going to turn on a nav light. We're going to turn this on. I think the auto setting here should be good for our heat. Let's see if we can turn on the old fuel pump back here. We're going to give this a little bit of hoo-ha, and we're going to go to a strobe pump, alternate backup, engines, protective cover, and we're down. That should be pretty good enough for that. Hat switches are working, control surfaces are working. We have pedals, we're pretty good on that. Everything is ready for a start. And again, this little switch right here is just fantastic. It's just a sticker. It's not even a three-dimensional button like everything else on the aircraft. But the governor on and start button are stickers. Whatever you need to tell yourself, Microsoft, Asobo. You can model everything else, but let's put a sticker on it. There we go, and with that, props
Captain,
are
seems
clear,
like you're ready.
everything is off. We're
Isn't it just
starting.
perfect for a little tour? For this flight, you welcome aboard
Shift
Natalie by her
space should
own.
reset
It's a scenic
cockpit
tour
here.
over Montreal.
This still isn't really
If the seatbelts
remembering my
are fastened, You're
presets.
set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
However, at least we're running a mission in a helicopter,
St. Hubert
right?
Airport information Juliet 0. Tree 00.
So did you
Windcom.
do anything
Visibility
special this
9er.
summer? Now
Sky
that winter is
condition,
upon us, what'd you do
9,800
this
feet scattered,
summer? Tell me a little bit about it
13,700
today.
feet scattered. Temperature
Talk to me.
1.5. Dew point 1
2-4
altimeter
left.
299.2.15. Visual runway 24 left and ILS runway 24 right in use. Landing and departing runway 24 left and runway 24 right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back. Hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Juliet.
Okay, I have tried to acknowledge that and request taxi clearance per the instructions of enter. However, it will not let me progress. So let's see if we can do the Shift A. We'll get our communications menu going here. We are going to request startup clearance. Now that our props are fully going, yeah, we got that great. Okay, sure.
410 at General Aviation Parking Information Juliet.
Either way, I'm going to go through it because so far it's been a better result when I go through all of these steps compared to when I don't.
Startup approved altimeter 29.92.
I don't need any ground services. It's still not giving me the option for request permission to taxi. There's no ribbon on the taxiway as there has been in the past, which is okay. We're pilots. We got this. Ground services available at this point are fuel supply or go back. Yeah. Sorry. Apparently that's going to be pretty useless. We'll try the plus again. No. All right. So apparently we are just going to hop into this bad boy. Where's our internal? See, it's not remember camera view 1. It goes back to that view every time. I need to tweak that a little bit. Anyway, I'm going to get into our 2 to 8 foot hover. Get your seatbelt on over there, woman. I think you might need it. Just kidding. You'll be fine. I've only crashed 7 times. Just kidding. Nervous yet? If you could be honest. Are you nervous yet? It is very, very... Yeah, I know. I tried. You can't say I didn't try. But you're going to ding me for it anyway. That's one thing that really bothers me about these launches, is that I'm putting in all of the effort that I'm required to get these things done the way they require them to be done, and yet they are negative impacting my results with their own deficiency. But those are growing pains we all have to kind of expect when it comes to something of this complexity. Stop at the helipad, which is a half of a mile away. We're going to follow our taxiway. We need to get back down into that 2 to 8 range. I know I'm a little high. Not that kind. Or am I? I'm just kidding. Okay. Moving on. I don't think it's going to be too difficult to earn the money to get to the spot I need to be. These ratings should come along pretty quickly. But I have a feeling I'm just going to need the cash, so that's why we're here. We're going to try out one of these missions before we even get started, right? Are we crossing a runway? I don't recall. The option to flip through the history is not available. I do have clearance. No one on final, no one on approach, left or right. See, I'm clear to cross. I haven't received clearance to cross because I'm unable to. But we're going to cross anyway. I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel in disguise. Oh, I'm a rebel in the skies. Taxi speed has been...
Hello, I'm Natalie. I've never flown in a chopper before, so I'm kind of stepping out
I
of my
just freaked her out a
comfort
little
zone
bit, so I kind of triggered her to chime in a little bit right there. It was my bad. Doing too many things at once again. I should just be
So excited.
HEMS pilot, doing my job.
Bit
But
nervous
instead,
too. I won't lie to you.
I'm taking you. Yeah, you. Around the planet to earn a little money from a job that I'm already good at, but we need you to get us there again. I wish I would remember these views the way I needed to. It's, again, something that I just need to spend a little bit more time on, because I like the horizon in a certain spot, the orientation. It's something that I need to recall on a regular basis, like a preset load camera sort of a situation. I'm definitely going to be negatively impacted by my taxi ability on this one. I think we dial it in, sit back, and enjoy a little airport lounge. Maybe not that much. I don't think we need to enjoy it that much, though. I mean... Maybe a little something like that. How do you like the music? Do you want me to change the channel?
No, I like it pretty well. It's good music.
Wow, your voice is interesting. We're doing our Speedwalker's pace for taxi. I will say that the ATC towers do look a lot better. Right? Looking good. Base sim. Atmospherics in the background, much different. The way the sun is interacting with the clouds. Look at this. Much more dynamic. You can see the density of the clouds impacting not just the density, but the coloration and the saturation, absorption rate of the sun into the clouds. Really a fantastic improvement environmentally overall. I'm very happy with what they've done to the environment. Let's try to bring up our EFB. Still on a taxiway, but does that taxiway ever connect with this? Where does it have me flipping going? It wants me to at runway. Do I have to go all the way down this taxiway? Oops, oop, yep. Hold on. Should have never moved my collective. I tried to just scooch myself a little bit quicker, but this external view isn't something like I like to normally fly in. Trying to get used to it. It's a little bit more of a view for everybody, but take off from helipad. The helipad is here. I have no path to get there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going for it. I'm not going to go the taxi route. I'm going to go the my way or the highway route. We'll see if I get challenged for it. No, I'm just scraping some grass here. Doing a little lawn maintenance on my way over. For the Nova Adventures. Which is a duplicate graphic on the side of the Cabri, if you can see that. It's actually printed out 2 different times, just in smaller fonts. I wonder if that's a UV mapping error or intentional. There is a little bit of a weird motion blur happening off of the tail. Actually, the entire aircraft fuselage itself is generating that line. Let's see what frame rates are doing at this point. 21, is that what it says? Seriously? 17. See, and I'm not running that scaler in the back. I've put my settings down really low to kind of compensate for Microsoft's inability to launch cleanly. So I figured by lowering these settings, it's actually demanding less of their servers and giving them a little bit of breathing room. And myself the opportunity to actually functionally operate the simulator and make progress. I've had, I would say, over a dozen crashes, half of those being not just crashes to desktop, but crashes where the entire system freezes and it's a reboot. Extremely frustrating, and it's like, you guys are causing so much stress on my system. Tisk, but you know what, at the same time, you have to understand that they are trying to launch the most sophisticated flight simulator that has ever been attempted. And the fact that we are in it right now, and they did it on time, is a testament to the amount of effort that the team put into it, and that I think they really did a fantastic job with most of it. There's some little odds and ends around that need to be fixed, no doubt, especially, I mean, like the little things that truly are more than just kind of annoying. Like, why can't I use the arrow key in a text box? So it's saying to take off from the helipad. I haven't reached the helipad. There's not a helipad here. This is where it was saying to go for the helipad. Yet there is no helipad. Microsoft, if you ding me, we're going to have issues. But either way, we are going to just get this party started. All right, now the flight pattern has become available here. But I need to be going that way. See, this is the entry pattern that's already visible. Oh, it gave me a green light at 600. Let's get back in the old cockpit over here. And it wants me to maintain a 600-foot altitude. And now what I'm going to do is kind of stay parallel to the runway, as close to 600 as I can, and gain some translational and speed. Oh, these banners at the bottom of the screen. We're in it. We're finally in it. In the chopper. Let's close this down, put it back on the old stand by me. Now it's movie references. You have to enjoy a little bit of a movie reference, right? For some reason, I am getting a repetitive message that says, chat's disconnected, please wait while we try to reconnect. And then it reconnects, and it's kind of going in and out of these. So if you're out there and you're watching, if you could do me a very quick favor and just give a quick hello in that chat. I'd like to see if it is working at this point. Plus, I'd like to interact with the people who are watching this content to see what it is that brings them to the channel, and if there's anything else that I could show them that would teach them a little bit about what they need to know. Because that's what we're here to do. Besides just doing helicopter missions and showing you the world of Flight Simulator 2024, I want to make sure that you are educated enough to understand what you need to know when it comes to your decision on this product, without anything profiting me, okay? We're not a monetized channel. I'm not sponsored by anybody. This is literally something I've started specifically for Flight Simulator 2024. Because I want to get involved in just helping more people. I was an instructor for quite a while. I taught some school, done that sort of thing. It's rewarding. Here we go with these misplaced flight paths, though. It said 800, and now that flight path is probably a little bit like the 1400 AGL mark. Oh no, I'm at 1200. Where does this thing want me to fly? Where do you want to go? Are we doing dinner after this? It's a little bit late, but I think we'll be all right. Still got some sunshine. I'm sorry. Wow, that happened. Oh, there's no need to feel dizzy, sweetheart. It's a great surprise. We got your back. Sorry, Heli 2 for 1 is 2 for me, 1 for you. Just kidding. Wow, that was I don't know, cheesy. Look at these graphics, though. I really do appreciate the way they've changed the generation of plants and trees on the surface. From this altitude with these graphics settings, though, I mean, it almost looks like I'm looking at 2020 with the flight model of 2024. But I'm sure that that's only because of my graphic settings at this point. .1 nautical miles out. Chilling like a villain. What kind of athletic fields do we have here underneath us? These blue borders. there is a helipad through the rotor system right now. It's centered with it. There we go. Okay. Okay. There is quite a bit more sharp edge action happening with the buildings that are close to us, and that degrades as you get a little bit further out in the view. You see the tessellation on them, and the overall wireframe structure of those houses getting degraded with distance. But I mean, that's almost exactly what I saw in 2024, but instead there is career missions embedded in the game. The flight model is remarkably different and a lot better. Yes, this 1500 mark is just like a home sweet home right here, huh? It's not bad. It's not bad at all. What do you think, young lady? She's speechless. Is it something I did? Something I said? Oh, the way she looked at me right there? Awkward. I do see a really good looking stadium directly at our about 1245. I will say that the windscreen reflections are a little bit much. I mean, they do add something to the overall three-dimensionality of the environment, and without a doubt, in VR, that would come across quite nicely. But I know I've said it before, I'm not a VR pilot. I like flying it like this. I kind of question how I would react to the VR, whether or not it would give me motion sickness. I am excited to try it, but I get by pretty good with this, and I think for the streaming content, this sort of view where I'm not constantly like, hey, what's around here, but doing it really quickly, you know what I mean? That sort of thing gets to be overwhelming for a lot of people, up to and including myself as a content creator. Not just here on YouTube, but as a career. You know, I actually work in the creation of videos, entertainment-wise and other. So I kind of get what it means to be aware of an audience. I don't know if my content is what you're looking for. If you've stuck around this long and you're subscribing, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Anything is just super cool to see the community coming together and sharing interest in flight, especially when it comes to helicopters. Everyone that I've kind of come across online is fixed wing fixed. We don't see a lot of helicopter content, so that is what I'm here to do. Look at what we got going on with the ports down here. A little MSC freighter underneath the gantry. This is, again, real life traffic happening in these ports. So if you were to be in this area, there would be a ship of one sort or another in that dock at this moment. Look at the fidelity of the bridge over here. Even from this distance, it does kind of look like it has that like wall that kind of goes from the water level up to the bottom of the bridge. And I think that's a ray tracing issue, again, specifically related to my degraded graphic settings at this point, because I'm not going to explain it again. But that's why I believe that looks like that. I'm not mad. I'm going to use my imagination for now until they work out some bugs, give them a little breathing room, and let it fly. Or do we go Bachman Turner overdrive and ride, let it ride? 1.62 nautical miles to the biosphere. That's a really short distance. And what I'm going to do is actually start to align with it a little bit more. Oh, that's our destination. That's what we were looking at. See, this whole time I've been looking around and not paying attention to where I'm supposed to be going. Back on that EFB, I can see that this is what we're here for. So, are you excited? This is it. I don't know if it's going to let us go that low to this thing, but I hope you're ready for a ride. Base sim, no add-ons. The fidelity of that structure at this distance, these graphic settings, is not all that bad. Great performance out of the helicopter at this point. Flies quite well. Realistic controls, again, once you get those sensitivity options taken care of. It's good. It's real good. It hasn't given me any restriction on altitude. I am not going to skip anything. You kidding me? Skip sightseeing? No feedback whatsoever. You're just going to sit there deadpan. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Maybe I don't make this flight this photographic. Maybe I just decide to go right through those glass panels right here. Yeah, yeah, I could do that to you. You know that, right? Don't make me mad. Now it's saying that there is 1.6 nautical miles to the destination. I believe that what they are saying is yeah, it's going straight up that they want that. But what I want to do for my customer at this point is give them the full body experience. Let's show them what this is all about. Look at the wires coming off of this thing even. This is going to be truly impressive once they get through the growing pains and we can start to cache more of this data and then come back and see it after caching and caching and caching, because there's so much data involved in this. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I wonder if she likes what she sees. She hasn't said a damn thing. Rude. Fly to the biosphere. So again, I think that's directly up. Yep, straight up. So what I'm going to do just for fun here is probably not going to be too much fun. Well, let's see if we could just start to pull into a vertical hover and ascend. I'm at 106% of engine's capacity, and I have a feeling that that would be problematic if I kept that as a trend. I have a feeling what I'm going to have to do is actually just get a little higher right now, because what it hasn't done is turn that mission step green just yet. So there is a section of this missing somewhere, and it's up there. Jorg said it. The sky's the limit. Found it. The atmospherics and the way the light is interacting with these clouds now. No. Again, lowered settings on purpose are degrading what it looks like, but you can just see that there's such a different environment that we're dealing with. We even start to see the three-dimensionality of the bottoms of the clouds become more spin. Right? They become more flat the lower you get to the ground, and then they start to get that three-dimensionality to them once you get in it, which is Pretty close to what you see in real time. Even the flight path, I mean, what altitude am I at right now even? 3,000 feet? Is this seriously part of the flight plan right now? Or are you're pulling my chain? It's the most scenic vertical flight we've seen so far. At least in the streams. Agriculture generation, trees, things along those lines. Massive, massive, massive improvement. Well, this thing still says I am 1.12 nautical miles away from this checkpoint. It's unreal. I'm not buying it. I flew over it quite literally, knocking on the door. But hopefully you're happy. 1.3. So does that really mean that I have another mile to go vertically before they want me to do this? Why such a high flight in these conditions? I am in a helicopter giving a scenic tour, yet they want me at the top of the biosphere. Let's give her a little something different to look at. Let's give you a little something different to look at. Not that you haven't seen it before, as we're just continuously climbing here. I do love the reflections off the water. Something else that I really like too is the reflections off of the fuselage of the aircraft. So these are updating as close to real time as possible. Some of them are a little stretched, but on some of the aircraft, they go as far as like, hey, that's the building next to you. But it does depend on the specific model that you're looking at as far as those reflection maps goes. I haven't seen too many issues with ground UV maps or building UV maps or anything like that, except for in China. I think it was maybe Tokyo that I flew out of, and in Tokyo there was a tree that was taller than any building. It was like I was in the Avatar movie, and this was home tree. It's like 2.0, right? Yeah. Very large, and very interesting to see that something like that would have been generated, but I think that's just kind of like an overlapping file in code. Pretty easy to fix if they can identify it within their coding. Now we're only at 0.9 inside a mile. And again, this is all just an upward trajectory. We're getting there. Where it's still behind us a little bit. No, we're like directly under it. Motion blur on the rotors. Pretty happy with it. The heat signature coming out of the exhaust. Much better than 2020. I like the patina on the exhaust pipes we got there underneath the cowling. The rotary aspect of our tail rotor down to the nuts and bolts. Tons and tons of detail. Can't be mad. Well, I mean, you could, but it would probably be unjustified. I have been a little frustrated lately, but mad I would not go with. I would not call my state of mind with the simulator mad. Worth the investment. 100%. The improvements are many. Fly to biosphere. You know what? I would love to. Let's see what happens if we zoom out of this here. I mean, It still doesn't recognize that I've flown over it, but I could be wrong too. I could be looking at something that isn't the biosphere. But when I'm zooming in on my other waypoints here, those are literally just like VOR spots. Whereas I think the structure that I flew low to was the biosphere, like a point of interest. Wow, how boring of a flight is this? Are you thirsty yet? Anything I can get for you? A little bag of peanuts? Nap? Anything? No? Let's see if we can just slow turn away from you, because that was awkward. Awkward. She's so quiet. And now I'm back to 1.8 nautical miles away from this stupid waypoint. Here's the ground. So bizarre. How bizarre. More music references. Why, oh why is there not more clarity for mission requirements? I am currently passing the 52. All right, a little bit of speed again. Let's try to push this thing into the air a little bit. Let's get some more power underneath it. Where's our marker at? For the love of Pete, why is this taking 6 centuries to get to this altitude? Is it because you're trying to put me at an altitude that this helicopter isn't even supposed to be at? You know I don't have an oxygen system on board. This is just Cabri, right? I am almost tempted at this point to be like Alt-N, skip, done, next. Oh, there's the drum roll playing in the back of my head right now to see if I just smash that. All right, we're at the 6,000 mark. We're at 8.8. Still rising. Plus, we're still going to have to come down. Am I just flying around in circles and not following my flight path? No. Because what it's showing me is this marker in the sky as my next point of impact. That's the place it wants me to fly through. And it may be glitching, but it's glitching during my career mode. And I want to see that mission step, fly to biosphere, turn to green like it's supposed to. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're at 7,000, half. Well, we're getting there. We're getting there. See, what I think is even more problematic is I want to say that is the return flight. Now, who knows? Who cares? This is just so frustrating. There's no amplifying information or anything here to verify exactly what altitude I should be crossing this waypoint at, right? If I get closer to the EFB and I go through all of this information, does it tell me Change procedure. There's no indicated or expected altitudes listed at all. Even if I go through like add an arrival and all that stuff, and I have tried that, nothing seems to change the fact that it's just not sharing enough information with you as far as expected altitudes in flight. So, you have to spend a little bit of time just in the guessing game. It's kind of like playing rock, paper, scissors with a paper towel dispenser in a public restroom. You never know what you're going to get. It's going to be a full roll. Or are you wiping your hands on your pants? So far, someone's wiping something. Because this has been pretty tragic. Alright, we're kind of slowing down a little bit in our altitude. I mean, we're at 71. 0.8. We're like orbiting around this little bastard. And one of these days, it's going to turn green. You had better believe that I am going to be here when it does. See, because if I fly directly through its path again, I'm going to go through this pin. Even at the altitude I am, I'm just going to fly directly through the line. The line just vanishes. If I look up more, it's there. Wow, I'm getting a little better at flying this through this, but how close do you need me to get to that line? It's requiring me to be at that altitude. Prove me wrong. What am I doing here, folks? Does anyone have any experience in what is happening with this nonsense altitude requirement right now for this mission? And I guarantee you that this is probably going to wind up saying that, hey, this mission took too long, and they're going to ding me for points for that. Wouldn't be the first time. Probably not going to be the last time, at least until some more packets are released from Microsoft. I do enjoy the way they're doing it in real time. It is causing some crashes on our end, but at the same time, they're pushing the solutions to us, which is all we can really ask for. The fact of the matter is that this is all very wasteful. I'm flying over the same spot. I could be enjoying another part of the planet and taking someone else other than Miss Deadpan around the world right now. You know what else I did not do with the EFB that I should probably get into? Why isn't it popping out? There we go. Let's see what we get here. If I work on, I think it's in this menu. Yeah, for the fun of it. Should have done this when we took off. It's actually part of the procedures, but I didn't do it. Stopwatch. Wow, this is arduous. All right, I'm coming up to the 8,000 foot mark. Where is our trigger? I don't know. Do I have any more power in these rotors to go 1.34 more kilometers and get to something that appears to be even further overhead? Or do I just duck out, follow the flight plan, and say, screw this? Because I don't think this altitude is appropriate for this specific type of flight. I'm at 8,000 feet. I've never been in a helicopter tour that has ever reached this altitude unless it's in a dream or a nightmare. One thing I don't know too is the max altitude for this specific chopper. Anybody out there know what that number is? There's probably something in the EFB that says it, but am I gonna look for it? Nope. I just want to fly SAR missions. Let's get back into this. I think what I'm going to do is just take this little trip right here. So I am up here. Took off from the airport. I am going to follow the magenta line on my map and see what happens. Because I'll tell you what, I am a little tired of going in circles. I'm sure you are too. I have not put on the scaling app yet, and this thing is struggling to keep up even with lower settings. I am only at 20 FPS right now. 99% of my GPU has been an average usage. CPU's only at 11 at max. Latency is getting up there at 100 and maybe 7 or 8-ish on average. Let's move on. Either way, let's go exploring and take her along for the ride. See, in every other mission, it's giving you an expected altitude. I don't know if I've missed it or what, but it's definitely not in the electronic flight bag at all, aka EFB. It's that iPad. Cruising along in my 6.2. Another music reference. I won't continue the lyrics of that song for explicit reasons, but I could, and I won't. I just want to see if we can progress past this mission successfully. And perhaps we've spent the 45 minutes of the flight time that it has offered us. Unknowingly, unwittingly. And it's going to give us some extra points for it. Showing her that there's more to sightseeing than low to the ground flying in a helicopter. We can get up here and enjoy skimming the bottoms of the clouds just as well. What do you think? That's what I thought. Speechless again. Let's move the EFB so we can maintain our flight path here. I haven't looked for any autopilot settings on this aircraft at all. There is a little bit of a flight director down here. Oh, we do have a flight plan. Look at what we got here. There's a little EFB built in. All right, you can do some flight planning. Okay. It's not too sophisticated. That is a definite thing. Let's see, what kind of options do we have in here? We can insert before, insert after, remove. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that that is a fully integrated autopilot system, or at least a GPS. I hand fly. I don't autopilot fly. The only time my aircraft get on autopilot is when they do it by themselves. And that does happen from time to time in these aircrafts. At least it did quite a bit inside of 2020 when we would do specific things. It would automatically come out of that specific functionality into a hover pilot mode by itself. And at that point, they were already working on 24 content. And they were like, you know what? We'll save it for the next mod. The next version will get the attention, not the one we're using currently. I think what I'm also going to do, since I'm only flying the flight path, I am going to start a descent. Nice little cloverleaf intersection down here. The roadways look so much better. The agriculture looks so much better. Oh, hold on. I got an idea. We got some agricultural in front of us as well. Seatbelt still on? Not tight, but it's on. Okay. Let's see if there's any animals in the field. I have come across some cows. I've come across some, I believe it was water buffalo or musk ox. And those were on the island of Reunion in the West Indian Ocean. Let's see if we can show our little passenger here. Yeah, you. Some animals roaming around on these farms out here while maintaining the flight path. So we're going to give you a variety. We're going to give you a little bit of up high, a little bit of mid, a little bit of low. How low can you go? Should be interesting to see. It does look like there are some issues with the roadways here, kind of resembling waterways more so than roads. They're quite reflective, a little bit of a blue tone to them. Tint, if you will. I don't know if that's because the weather has, put a little water on the ground and they're just reflective at this point. Oh, does it model flooding? I think that would be a little much for that data set, so I would assume that they would not be modeling flooding. This area appears to have quite a bit of photogrammetry that hasn't turned into any 3D modeling just yet, which is reminiscent of 2020. But the agriculture and the way the trees are following the lines of the farmer's field. Oh, we got some power lines in front of us, and make sure we're going to make it over the top of those. I don't see the lines themselves. I haven't seen any animals roaming around in the fields yet. And I don't think I'm close enough for my current graphic settings to generate grass. It's starting to come in. It's like a little twinkle. We still haven't gotten a green on our flight of the biosphere. But we are cruising in my little G2. One of the most boring helicopter passengers I have ever been in this close of a proximity to. Just silent the whole time. I think we're going to call her Clarice. Fava beans. Too far. Too far. I also would like to slow down the movement of this camera as well. It's very reactive. I'd like to change the sensitivities of that. Yeah. Here we are. It's about 70 knots. Cruising altitude of around 400 feet. Ooh. These might be producing a little bit of rain at some point. A little waterway here. Is it? Nope. This looks like just more field. Again, it looks very flat, very reminiscent of 2020. You can see the lines on the ground that are there because of power lines that exist in the real world, but it's not modeling them in sim. We'll getting close. We're getting close. I can't wait to see if this is going to be the solution to our evolution. I don't see anything out here that looks like a biosphere. We still have the drift in this camera too. I've changed the setting on that. There should be a dead zone there, but there isn't. Do I divert from our flight path a little bit here to see if we can scare our... I'm about to scare you. I'm going to warn you. I shouldn't have, but I did. Because I'm curious to see if we can find any more animals. Most of the time they just kind of pull up and appear as little blobs in the distance until you get closer. So far, no joy. The windshield reflections are very strong. I'd be curious if I removed those, if possible, if that would do anything for frame generation. Hopefully in the stream it's coming through as smooth. My overall gaming experience, even though it is only at 19 frames, isn't that bad. It's not hard to look at, you know what I mean? I'm not getting stuttering. There's a little bit of a shimmer on the trees. But I think that that's more anti-aliasing than anything. Okay, I'm getting close to the waypoint. You can see that on the EFB. So I'm going to start turning. And I'm just following flight plan. Definitely no biosphere. And no commentary from our passenger whatsoever. She hasn't sneezed. She may have farted earlier. I'm just saying, it's a little rough in here right now. But that's just between me and you, okay? Don't tell her. I think I smelt it and she dealt it. Because I kind of feel like I got dealt a raw hand on this one. I want more data on expected altitude. Ooh. If I can actually turn this way a little bit and get that farm right here out of that reflection. I mean, I'm pretty sure that this is not what the farm looks like here. Probably some silo action going on. But I'm also noticing that there isn't that default window where it looks like a shoe store or clothing store on every building. It's kind of more just a generic window. We'll learn more about that when we start landing at helipads at hospitals, because we know that we saw those in 2020 that had repetitive UV mapping on windows. It hasn't asked me to contact ATC. It hasn't asked me to do much of anything during this entire flight after like takeoff. Oh, more power lines. We'll come in over the top of them now. I'm afraid to turn on that scaling to get more frame rates out of these right now because I'm so far into this mission. Our timer is currently sitting at 15 minutes and 45 seconds right there from when I hit start on it. If you can see on the EFB. It actually does continue to show you that timer on an overlay. Nice feature. .5 hours of flight time left. I'm looking at the monitor over on the left side a little bit, just off center. I haven't been really keeping track of that to see if it is accurately showing us fuel consumption either. Every once in a while when you're moving these maps too, the cursor gets stuck to it. So when you pull your cursor away from it, it just keeps dragging it along with it. Okay. Coming up on Migdu. Still no change to the mission steps. And we are seeing our telemetry frames, whatever you want to call them, flight path frames, flight assistant frames, way overhead again. And yeah, a little more drifting in the camera. I might have to put a little bit more of a dead zone in there than I have. I think I only have one notch into it so far. And that waypoint that's showing up as that flag isn't even in line with my flight path. It actually looks like there's quite a bit more to do here before. No, this has got me going back to an airport. I'm not going to get to the biosphere. I have a feeling I just might fail this mission, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to think it is to no fault of my own, and this is just a glitch in the system. It may be something that I look into a little bit further post-flight and see what I missed. That is, if I even fail it, but we will cross that tarmac when we get there. Going to the flag. I am following the flight path. I am just RTB at this point. I will not do the Alt-N to skip to sightseeing. Oh, but you know what? I have never done it before. Hold on. This is going to, at least it should. Well, I'm going to talk this through before I actually do this. But if I do skip, all I'm going to do is not get those bonus points, right? At least by design. That's what should happen. I'm just not going to get bonus points. Alt-N on the keyboard. Alt-N. Alt-N. Non-reactive. If I use the left Alt instead of the right, it does work. So it is left-right Alt dependent. Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. This is the first time I've done this in a sightseeing event. And here we go. It is showing me a different location. Where in the world on this map am I right now? Where I am, it's where I started. Shut up. But it's just a different, shut up. Ooh, look at the amusement park. I think this was a good idea, and I probably should have came to that conclusion a lot sooner. Set a speed of 70 knots and an altitude of 550 feet. Fidelity on the bridge looks good. Good choice, sir. SAR Heli 241 coming in with a decision. Good but late. I've even got it on her side. Is she going to speak up yet? Not holding my breath. Not holding my breath. I like the fact that I am way down in the speed. I'm only at just over 50, about 55 kilometers an hour right now, and it's still giving me the green for stay below 70 knots. So far, accurate enough. Oh, look, she finally speaks up. Because, what do you know? I've found my destination. I didn't know I was just being annoying this whole time. Maintaining a pretty decent altitude all the way around my orbit. And generally, when it has you do these orbits, it has you come out of the orbit a little bit early to maintain that flight path again. I'm curious to see when in this flight path it is going to say go home. All mission steps completed successfully. Fly to Habitat 67. Am I going to do this whole flight path all over again? Where's the flag for it? You know what I don't have that might help is the flags on the planet. Hold on, hold your horses. I think we might be onto something with that. Let's escape out of here and go into settings real quick. And I believe it is in the assistances. Yep, I'm cheating all day long. I got those assists on. I ain't scared. Active waypoint marker is off. That needs to be on. Let's even turn on taxi ribbon. Everything else, yep, I've got disabled crashes. You know it, I'm cheating. I want that license and I want it now. I will get into that realism once we are a little closer. There's still no other information on board here. However, we're going to take our passenger across to the amusement park. Looks like a miniature version of the St. Louis Arch that has some serious issues with the architecture. But again, I'm sure that is a result of my lowered graphic settings. And once again, we're going to speed things up. Alt-N. I'm just finding it. It's the first time I've done it. Now I've done it twice. So this is my second sightseeing area. And look at this. It's actually in the same area. And it just wants me to go to the points of interest one at a time. But it's not including these as destinations in my flight bag. Even though I spent the time to transfer my flight plan into the avionics, we're seeing none of that actually come back during the flight. I'm going to slide that bad boy down to the 550 that it's asking for and get into another orbit. I think doing that Alt-N in this situation is going to be beneficial simply because it's taking less time, number one. It's checking the box of getting to the destination without having to search for it. And since the POI markers aren't working just yet, cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater. Habitat 67. I think once we do an orbit at their requested altitude, I think what we're going to do is actually take a little closer look at the architecture of that little facility. A little bit closer. And then we will Alt-N to the next portion of our flight. Now I can't see my instruments anymore. Again, it's starting to do that reset with the view that I've preset. A pretty decent hold of speed around this, I must say. Okay. All right, here we go. All green check marks in position. Fly over the Olympic Stadium Now, what if that were the stadium that I were at prior, and this is just trying to get me there? Olympic Stadium. Does anyone see it or know where it is? I could be using something like a third-party map to bring this up. I don't see it visually, so I am going to just alt and out of that bad boy. I'm going to speed demon my way through it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm cheating. I'm cheating. Ask me if I care. It is the same stadium, so, okay, even though I've already done a complete orbit and sexy fly around of this building, it hasn't accredited me for the sightseeing adventures that I have already provided. And I didn't go get closer to the other set of buildings because, frankly, time. I want to move on. I want to collect the credits for this mission and say that we have our first helicopter mission under our belt, and we are that much closer to putting a winch into use for a rescue mission. Green check marks across the board for mission steps. Maintain 600 feet below 70 knots. Coming into that pretty nicely. Overall, very smooth flight. I am certain that it is as smooth as it is because I am using those assistants, mainly as a representation for everyone out there in the audience to know that if you want to use those assistants, no one's stopping you. I can get used to the flight model in 2024 with the assistants on and then make the transition as I get more and more comfortable with it. Absolutely. It is up to me in the first place. It's my life. Okay, another music reference failure. But it happened. It did. Things I can't take back. Starting to get a little bit higher than 600. Not aggressively over the top of our limit, but let's just bring that down slightly. Level it back out right there at 6. We are all the way around the Olympic Stadium. Aviator performance flight. What? That needle was exactly where you wanted me to be. Again, here we go, getting dinged for something that I wasn't even doing. That whole time I was off the beaten path doing my own thing. Absolutely no one chimed in to say anything about anything, and then it gives me a negative mark on something fictitious. Okay. I'm not taking it personally. What's your opinion? Yep, that's what I thought. You would just look away in disgust and then just keep there with your hands firmly in your lap like, when can I get out of here? How long is this going to take? Well, so far, 30 minutes. We're coming about that 30-minute mark since I started the timer. So honestly, we should be getting really close to that 45-minute mark for this flight that they are expecting it to be. 5 nautical miles, we're pushing 70 knots. I don't know. I think we're going to come in a lot closer to 45 than we ever have, that's for sure. So what I've been depleted with, that score for that ATC mess up we just had might be compensated for the duration of the flight. Again, we shall see. If I press the enter key right here, it is asking to connect to the arrival airport via ATC. Or press enter. So I can't do it here. Sorry about that. So we will get back into our communications, and we'll see if we can't get into a full, not touch and go, full stop. Boo. 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 More movie references, if you don't know. Princess Bride. Classic. I'm not going to do a flyover. I'm not going to hit a pattern. I'm coming into the helipad. I want to see if I get negative marks for that. I guess I'm just testing the system right now, because no matter what, at the end of the day, I'm in it for the long haul. We're days into the start of this adventure, and we've got some time. So let's break some rules. Let's break the law. Breaking the law. Acknowledge pattern. See it now. It's giving me ATC commands to fly a right downwind of helipad 1. I'm not getting into a downwind. I'm sorry. I think we might go past our bag time if we do that. Are you safe with it? You feel good with it? I mean, that seatbelt is very loose. It's up to you. You don't want to tighten it? Okay, we're just going to go for it. She says nothing, so my call. Because it just says make an approach to the helipad. It doesn't say from what direction at this point. Mission-wise, it is only said approach to the helipad. The ATC version said to do something different, but mission steps and ATC, in my opinion, are two totally different things. ATC has no authority over a mission step. Excellent graphics, though. Even like I said, though, you know, with the settings turned down a little bit just to keep things functioning, and we're not streaming as quickly as they aren't able to support. The generation of the trees, the fidelity of the buildings, the texture on the ground, the rotor wash on the grass, the new trees, the seasons, being able to see the colors hit the trees is awesome. I even took a little bit of time to fly around the Chicago area, if you don't already know, and you could see some snow on the treetops because we did get a little bit of a 2-inch dusting of snow that quickly has started to melt away, but it was modeled in sim pretty accurately. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy with that. There's a lot of things about this that are going very, very well, and the time it takes to get to my goal is hopefully going to be worth it for not just me, but you as well as a viewer and student. ATC infringement on speed again. You know what? I got news for you. What speed infringement am I working on? Is this not one of the smoothest landings to a helipad you can't see that you've ever seen? What do you think? Nothing. We will come into the 2 to 8 foot hover over our helipad. It's not going to give me the approach. Oh, it just did as soon as I said that. Oh, it's saying to stop at the hold short. Hold on, change of plans. I don't want to deviate that far from the request. I'm going for a tour. A 3-hour tour. Yep, Another musical reference. I could and have done this all night before, and I'm not afraid to do it again. Where is the hold short? There's no call out for it this time. Very interesting. Very. Oh, it's showing behind me. The hold short says 3,437 nautical miles to my... down there. Do you see that? Oh, don't crash. Are you kidding me right now? What just happened? Look at where this thing... What the... Yeah, okay. I'm going to land. Stop at the hold short 3,400 kilometers away. Here we go with Microsoft having problems with math again. We're not mathing today. I'm sorry. We're on vacation. We're not mathing. Did you see that, though? On the very bottom of the display, it was showing the flag and the distance to it. And that's when I knew that things went horribly wrong with the mathematics of what we were witnessing. So I am, again, just going to kind of get into a position here to make this a nice, smooth, buttery landing for Miss Quiet over here. Steady as she goes. Steady as she goes. Almost down. We're starting to see the debris kick up a little bit. There's the ground effect. A little bit of a buffer at the bottom of that. And we're down. Request taxi to parking. Is it going to allow me to do it? Nope. Alt-N, skip to shutdown. Again, all we're going to wind up doing is losing bonus points, and I'm okay with that. And I will not do the automatic shutdown. I believe all it's going to take to achieve that is to turn the fuel pump off, open up our protective cover, and kill the switch. We're going to wait for it to spool down a little bit, come back and turn this rotor brake up. What do you think about that flight, huh? You are interesting at best. I think I might have to take you out to dinner, Never. Should be getting close to that low RPM setting. What do you think? Have you been watching these gauges? Not even close. Okay. Either way, what we're going to do is continue a little bit more of a shutdown. Let's turn the pump off. Let's turn the landing light off. We're going to turn off our nav light. Our strobe is going to stay on while our rotor is still spinning. Leave the master on because we don't want to walk away too early. Down to the 205 RPM status. I'm not sure what the actual application of parking brakes is for these Cabries, but I think around 180, something like that, should be decent. Here we go. Give her a whirl. Let's give her a whirl, Earl. Young lady, thanks for flying along. I really wish you would have said more. Maybe it's something... Wow. She's like, 3, 2, 1, I'm out. And she just dropped that scene like it was hot. That was great. 79% sightseeing quality. After all of that, it brings us up to a 63,000 XP and then gives us some bonus points. 102,110 XP points in a single flight. There's a new record. Okay. Decent. Only 2 aviator performances, cruise speed. Okay, I can admit to that. And taxi speed. I'll admit to both of those. It didn't actually track those other ones there. Interesting. Income, a little bit under 2 Gs. 1980, which was a good year. I don't know if all of you were around in 1980, but it was a pretty good year. Blimp back then. Okay, too far. Level up. All the way to 12. Here we go. 3,380 credit points. Ladies and gentlemen, we have completed one mission in a helicopter. I'm very, very happy with it. Digging it. On the rotorcraft side of thing, we have all things checked off. Search and rescue still has the lock next to it. Flight seeing is still our only mission set available, however. Excellent progress. Not too bad. I think we're okay with it. Once again, these computer specs are pretty simple. It's some old school equipment. We're talking about the Ryzen Threadripper 2950X. 128 gigabytes of DDR4 for the overkill factor. RTX 2080 Ti for the cheap man on the block factor. And then we've got 11 gigabytes of video RAM and just straight up Wi-Fi for a signal, and I'm running it pretty smoothly, even though it's down to 20 frames for BS frames per second. It's not a ridiculous experience. I'm not mad. One of these days I'm going to crank my settings back up and get this thing back in, especially when I'm not using the streaming software at the same time. I'm sure that all of that is going to increase. Not mad about it. Happy with the progress. I think everybody, this journey from 20 to 24 has been a roller coaster, as we've seen in today's video, but it is a decent ride overall. There's a lot of great improvements in flight characteristics, in the wake turbulence, all of the graphics that are involved, the little chips of grass coming up, the debris when you're in your ground effect. A lot of things are working out really, really well with this new version. There's few glitches along the way, which are to be expected when you're launching such a complicated piece of software. So I think we are on track to keep doing what we're doing. And yeah, after all is said and done, I am happy with the transition. I really am. Even though I've said some negative things about how long this is taking, I'm one day closer. And this guy in this airplane has the best seat in the house. I don't know about you, but that has to be one heck of a view for him in that mission. Either way, thank you very much.